While scrolling through the FNF Reddit, a really interesting thought on one of these threads was really intriguing to think about, and upon diving into the rabbit hole, the theory only got more and more cool to think upon. Throughout the game, the player discovers many lore drops and reveals that shed the Mimic and its origins in a new light. One of these details is found in Sleepy Moon's basement level, where the player can find a note presumably written by the M1 Fiona, likely before she was moved out of the Endoscone, with this note detailing how she has a memory of dying from childbirth before reawakening with her family. This is incredibly similar to how Fiona died in the Mimic story itself. Another intriguing detail is the differences with MCM, with the factory having many workers in secret of the Mimic, while in the Mimic story it appears to be only Edwin, David, and the Mimic in the factory, something that could be explained by the Mimic's isolation in game. Lastly, we see that David's death is also slightly different. As in the Mimic story, Edwin is there to witness his son's death, while in the game he is not, sending the Mimic to retrieve his son instead. During the Storyteller story, we see the Storyteller tree, an AI housed in a fake baobab tree within the atrium of the Pizzaplex, with this AI being created to make stories out of pre-existing templates. Later on, we find out that not only is the AI housed in the form of a white tiger head, but it is also powered and programmed with the Mimic's violent M1 program, showing that the Mimic can create stories, likely something it acquired from either David in his drawings or possibly his control over Gregory. Lastly, during the game, the player can play the Moon XE game, where one must avoid the Moon character while speaking to Sun, with the game eventually ending in a reconstruction of the factory and later Divot's room. With this in mind, combined with the quotes during the end of the minigame, it appears that this game is from the Mimic's perspective, likely being a story created by the M1 Fiona. With all of this in mind, my theory is that after his beating at the hands of Edwin and its revenge on his creator, the Mimic, in its seclusion and isolation within the abandoned Murray's Costume Manor, would make up a story about itself and the events surrounding its origins, with its story being influenced by the rage, grief, and negative emotions that saturated it after its brutal beating and treatment by Edwin. This would explain the differences between the games and the story, with the Mimic faking certain details of the story and exaggerating others, and it would also explain the sudden shift in the tone that the story takes towards its middle half. This could also explain the instances of Edwin physically abusing David, something that we don't witness or hear about in the game, with this part of the Mimic story being influenced by the endoskeleton's violent treatment by the hands of Edwin. All of these storytelling and fantasizing on the Mimic part would evolve into the Storyteller and its abilities within the Pizzaplex itself.